morning, guys. Good morning. So as you can see, there's still snow on the ground, but this thing's dirty. It's going to be warm-ish today, so I wanted to get it out and give it a good wash. I've got my Plus soap out right now. Got my wash and wax. I already got my foam cannon back there prepped. So I'm going to go ahead and start washing this hog here. She is actually quite dirty. Yeah, actually quite excited. Oh, guys, by the way, look, hoodies are in now. I got new t-shirts. Hoodies are all in stock now, so go check out the link below and go buy yourself a shirt because you're badass and you know you want to support me. America. Alright guys, so I got the car washed. The only problem is it was so cold this morning that let me adjust this, that it was freezing to the car. I was really using the foam can, it was freezing to it, so I had to back it up here into the sun, and it looks good now. Yeah, it's still 4x4 life. Once I get a geometry kit in it and suck the wheels in a little bit, it'll look a lot better, and you just do a few more things to it, lower it down, and I think it'll look good finally. It really is bugging me how far the wheels are sticking out and how high it sits right now. Plus, remove these tires. I hate these tires. Once I get that all fixed, so it's really 3 things, it'll be good to go. First time really getting to wash it since the new bumper. Ooh, excuse me, guys. I'm already drinking ice cold Keystone. If you saw earlier there, go buy a Motor Loot tag down below. Anyways, back to the video. Yeah, you just need to just admire how beautiful the car is. This thing really is sharp. I'm just really happy with the way everything turned out, and it's finally nice to see the wheels, everything nice and clean. Like, oh, this is nice. I need to put some tire shine on it here. I have some Adams in there I'm going to use and finish cleaning it up. It goes for tint this week too. Unfortunately, I'm away on business all week here. As you guys are seeing, this will be a Wednesday video. This is Saturday right now for me, but I'm gone this entire week. I have to go teach a bunch of people. I teach CAD. If you guys don't know what computer aided design is, so like AutoCAD, Autodesk, MicroStation, that kind of stuff, I teach that across the state. So yeah, I have to go up and do a couple more training classes. Got to go up for survey and stuff. It should be fun. But yeah, let's get back to the rest of the video and get here for what you guys came for. Alright, boys and girls, it's time for another video, and let's go ahead and just get right into this while I drink an ice cold Keystone. Again, if I haven't mentioned, go buy a Keystone tag and go buy a new shirt, because if you guys didn't see in the video so far, I've got my new hoodie on right now, which I think about releasing hoodies. Let me know if you want a hoodie or not. Yeah, they're pretty dope, and I'm pretty happy with them, but let's go ahead and get into this new video. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and dive into this. Why do I like street cars? What's the whole point, premises behind it, why I'm always into street cars? It's mostly for the fact that I drive my cars all the time. I enjoy driving my cars on the street, and I like them to be usable. You know, I like to make sure that whatever I'm putting on the car, I can beat on it and beat on a ton, and it's not like, okay, I can only do this so many times it's going to break. You know, I guess everything to an extent has that, but both of my cars here, my MR2 is pretty well stocked. Now my Supra is very well modified, making over 600 plus wheel horsepower, and then some, probably close to 700 wheel horsepower now. But they're both reliable. I mean, I know I can take it out right now, beat on it, and come home, park it, not think anything of it, take it out tomorrow, and do it again. It's built properly and done right. I feel like too many people get caught up in the horsepower game. You know, they see one guy and then the internet tells them this, or their friends say, oh, you need more power, you need more power. Don't get sucked into it. Don't fall for it. There's so many people that do that. Just remind yourself, 9 times out of 10, there's same people, they're guys that are like, oh, well, my Honda Civic's pretty sweet over here, you know. It's looking pretty cool, but yeah, they're not doing anything. They're not making any big power. They're talking a big game, but them themselves can't support it. Now, there is guys in my area, people like John Stats, who build legit race cars, and they race them over and over again, which is awesome. But they never street drive them. John Stats, I have seen him on the street a couple of times, but being honest, I mean, John, it's a race car at this point. I mean, he takes to the track 99.9% of the time. It very rarely sees a street from what you guys can see. It's just one of those things, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's awesome. He's got a race car. But I don't like race cars. I enjoy driving my car. Like, I'll take the Supra and drive it 4 hours to Ocean City, drive it all 3 days straight down there, let it sit outside, and then drive it back and not think anything of it. I've done that for 7 years now and don't think anything of it, and it does fine. You do it with some of these cars that make big power, and it's a ticking time bomb. You're always worried. I don't want to be like that, just like many people don't want to be like that. So just want to kind of give you guys my perspective on it and where I'm going with both of the cars. Hold on, I gotta switch to my next beer here. I just, pounded this one, America. I just spilled some of the beer on me, dumbass. All right, got it freshened. We good now. So yeah, like it's giving perspective on what you want to be at. As I got to kick the tools under my chair, it's all perspective of where you want to be at and what you want to do with your car. I personally like driving on the street. I like going places. I like going to car shows. I like going to drag events, and like taking my cars there and driving them there. I don't own a truck and trailer, even though that's the next goal for me. But at this time, that's not something I really want to do. So I'm just trying to keep the cars as streetable as possible. The goal is to keep the cars that they can make good power, but not break all the time. So the Supra I kind of overbuilt in certain ways. It is running an R154, which does have its weaknesses, but I'm only making 600 some wheel horsepower, fully built. Have a automatic TT rear end, automatic twin turbo super rear end, and a solid steel drive shaft, which is a little heavier, but they're very strong. So I'm losing little bits here and there, but as a whole, it's a very strong setup. I can beat on, do burnouts, just bang gear after gear, and it never gives me an issue. It never once says, we can't do this, we can't do that. The only issue I really have with the Supra is the clutch, which I kind of knew that going into it, as I ran a 6-puck clutch, and I should have known better. Next clutch I go to is going to be a full face. There's not many clutches out there that can hold the power of a full face, and when you go to a full face, you are using a very heavy pressure plate, so I'm going to have to set it up for a switch to not cause me any issues on startup, so you don't want to be pressing the clutch down on startup for stuff like that. But again, to get back on track here, yeah, I don't have any desire to, just like many people don't. You always want the most power possible. We as Americans, and me being a naturally born American citizen, it's bad here in the U.S. We are definitely straight line people. We look as road racing as something to do. Don't get me wrong. We do. There's many people that do it here, but drag racing is king here. Period. End of story. The more power, the better. Drag racing, street racing is very, very, very big here in the U.S. And very well known here in the U.S. That's why we have the TV show Street Outlaws, which is actually between that and Gas Monkey Garage are the two biggest car shows on television. It just gives you a premises of how big street racing is here. We just take it very serious, and big power is the game. So for me to say, like, I know my limits and don't want to push the car, it's kind of taboo here, and I do get a lot of shit for it. Many of my friends give me shit for it, but it is what it is. I just don't care enough that I would want to push the car that far, go that far with it. The MR2, I plan on going with a little bit more power. I'd like to hit around close to 350. I know I have to do a different turbo for that, which I plan on doing eventually. But I want to keep it a side mount. The only thing I do want to stay away from is doing a trunk mounted turbo setup, where they do a intercooler in the trunk, they cut everything up and they put an intercooler in the trunk of the car. I want to keep it streetable. I want to have a rear trunk still. I want it to be very usable. You have your frunk, which is in the front of the car, and then you have your actual physical trunk, which is right behind the engine. I want to keep it a true street car still and keep AC and keep all that stuff. So keeping the small side mount had this limit, so you 350, 400 max, and even then you're really suffocating yourself. It's not breathing properly, and you probably should go to trunk mount. So 350 is realistic. And then, like I said, for the Supra, I might go E85 with that, but again, my transmission having it won't be able to handle E85. I'll be able to make 800s easily with the turbo setup I have on E85, but the trans would be the next thing to go, if not the drive shaft. And I just don't want to be fighting with it all the time. It's just easier to have 93 pump. I don't worry about it. I don't have to worry about 85 issues. I don't have to worry about stainless, this and that. I'm using a stock return on the car right now, which is, I think, a -6 stock. So I don't have to deal with many issues that a lot of people out there have to deal with, and I'd like to keep it that way. So guys, I'd kind of like to know down in the comments below, like, what are your cars you're driving now? What do you feel about, the whole street car thing? I've kind of talked on this a little bit, but I just want to go over why I try to keep my car as a street car. It just, to me, it makes sense. I like to keep my cars the way they are. I just actually spent, as you guys saw at the beginning of this video, I pressure washed the car, I foam canned it, then I hand washed it, which I didn't record all the hand washing and stuff, but I take good care of my cars, and I kind of like to keep it that way. So I kind of like to know down in the comments below, guys, what you feel about the whole street car thing, where you cut it off at. For me, I like to keep my street cars in the fact that they do everything I would want it to do, and then some, and try to keep it as a usable factor. So yeah, so like I said, guys, give me some comments below, and let's get this figured out. But I just want to go ahead and say this too, that you can build legit race cars. So like, if you enjoy that, if that's what you're all about and you like to build race cars are what your life is about, go for it. If you enjoy that thrill, that that quarter-mile time, or if you enjoy grid life kind of stuff, you like time attack, you like that kind of stuff, you like road racing, go for it. If that's what you're about, do it. But just don't do that and think like, my car's going to be 100% reliable, it's going to be an air conditioning car, and do all these things. I guess anything is possible, and I like to say that anything is possible. Would just be realistic though. Most people don't have the pocket depth to afford something like that. If you're trying to get an Evo and make it 100% reliable and do things that I do with my cars day in, day out, with air conditioning, be reliable, not be noisy, not squeak, crack, make all these weird noises, and just go in and out, it's just not realistic. It just isn't. If that's what you're trying to go for, just trying to be realistic with your goals and see where you're at. What I say to a lot of people is sit down, go over what you're looking for. What do you want out of a car? What's the chassis you're choosing? Are you using an SW20? A lot of people say, well, I have an MR2, so I have to use 3SGT. That's not true. You can K20 swap. You can do whatever you want to it. Look at the car and go, what do I want to use this chassis for? What do I expect out of it? I have a Supra. What do I expect of it? I have a Camaro. What do I expect out of it? Sit down, make a guide, and go, what do I expect out of this car? What do I expect out of this chassis? What would I like it to do? What are my end goals? And where would I like to be at here in, say, a year or two? And then go from there. A lot of people do it and just keep adding on, and then it turns into this monster, and then they're not happy with it, and they end up selling it. I feel like a lot of people just don't sit down and they get caught up in the hype, and they say you have to go faster and faster. Just make sure you don't fall for that, or make sure that if that's what you want, go for it. But if you don't, make sure you sit down and go, okay, look at yourself and go, what do I want? Am I going to be happy with it? Or am I going to build this monster, break parts all the time, be okay with it, and just keep shoving money into it? So you got to watch it there. It can be a little wonky and be a little scary when it comes down to stuff like that. Alright guys, thank you very much for tuning in this video. I've had actually quite fun recording this one, kind of starting off this morning, watching the car, kind of going over all this. Again guys, if you can, go check out the merchandise. I just got a bunch of it in. I'm very, very happy with it. Finally have a quality product. I've got hats, I got shirts, I got stickers down below, so go check it out. Also, go check out the Facebook and Instagram. I'm always posting stuff way ahead of time. And also, if you want to shoot me a message, hit me up on there. I do have an email, but that's only for business stuff, so please, please, please do not hit me up on there unless you have some serious questions, or if you have something business related and want to work with me. So yeah, just leave it at that. So again guys, thank you very much, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.
There goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight, there goes a sight. Now there goes